Europe, October 1347. 12 ships from the Black Sea dock in Sicilian port, Messina. They come out to see horror. Most sailors were dead, and those still alive were grievously sick. By 1351, an estimated 25 million were dead. The Black Era of Europe had begun. On that 1347 October morning, a horrible disease was unleashed, the bubonic plague, or as it was more ominously dubbed, the Black Death. But Europe was not the original centre for this epidemic. It's believed to have originated in Asia 2,000 years ago, spreading by the trade winds west. By the early 1340s, it had ravaged in China, India, Persia, Syria, and Egypt. However, the only news that had reached European shores was that of a great pestilence. The ships that arrived in Messina were dubbed death ships, and that name couldn't be more apt. Those sick from the boats and the others who contracted it from there suffered from a fever, headache, chills, weakness, and something called buboes, which was swollen lumps caused by infected flea bites. To give you a more vivid description, I call Italian poet Giovanni Boccaccio to quote: "At the beginning of the malady, certain swellings, either on the armpits or under the groin, waxed to the bigness of a common apple, or others the size of an egg, some more, some less, and the vulgar named these plague boils." It was a horrible disease. Those boils seeped blood and pus and were generally horrid. Worse is that if untreated, the plague attacked the lungs and bloodstream, leaving the victim to die from the inside. By the end of 1438, the plague had seized the Mediterranean, leaving only South Spain and East Morocco free from the disease. Then, by 1349, France and England gave in to the plague. By 1340, Germany and Scandinavia had fallen, and in the coming years, Eastern Europe would fall to one of the most sadistic diseases ever. It spread so wide and fast due to the way you got infected, through fleas. And for peasants, the main social class, fleas are as common as flies. With the scale and evil of the disease, many fanatic religious elements believed it to be the divine punishment of God for the perceived sins of humanity. Groups of people like the Flagellants believed if they worked to gain God's forgiveness, yes, it would go away. And how do you do that? Whip yourself in the town square, of course. Okay, without the sarcasm. In the medieval ages, it kind of made sense. Let's see this from their perspective. Something is spreading across the world, striking down random people with black lumps. And the fact that everyone was religious, and it starts to make sense. Unfortunately, they only spread the plague to new towns. In the aftermath of one of the greatest plagues, as you'd expect, many things changed. For one, dynasties changed, becoming smaller. Some places were left in succession crises as the ruling families were left in mass graves. Old beliefs about God, it being God who made you sick, when entire monasteries were left dead. However, there was one benefit to one people: the peasants. As you see before the plague, they were common, paid poorly, couldn't strike, or because if the family moved away, there were 12 others to come in. After the plague, however, there were so few that rival lords competed to get them to come to their lands. They did this by making everything better for the peasants, including increasing their pay, generally not being mean to them, and such. Thanks to all who stomached this disgusting story, and if you want to help my channel get off the ground, you're free, unlike peasants, to consider liking and subscribing. Farewell.